This is AutoSave, the podcast that is a book club for gamers, and we are continuing our adventure through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This time we're heading back to the Gold Saucer for Chapter 12, A Golden Key. And some of us go on a special date. Some others don't. I mean, you can't really control what dates are good and what dates are bad, right? Well, to find out, listen to this episode right now. Hello, everyone, and welcome to AutoSave. I'm your host, Camille Hadaway, and joining me, as always, we have my co-host, Mr. Nick Andrade. And today, we are continuing our dive into Final Fantasy VII Rebirth with Chapter 12, A Golden Key. Sounds mysterious. Well, we are trying to find the Temple of the Ancients, but before we trek through that, let's recap what happened last episode.
Wait, what? I thought...
Cloud, look at this. It's brand new. They rebuilt the whole village.
Don't scare me like that. Thought Cloud might have lost it again. I mean, I thought he got us lost, because it looks different. So, who do you think rebuilt it?
Shinra.
We learned that Cloud and Tifa's home of Nibelheim was rebuilt and is a place pretty much to treat those that are infected by Mako poisoning. I think they said specifically ex-soldiers, but don't mark me on that. And also, all of the original residents are just not there anymore, and there's no explanation for that.
Well,
Weird.
most of them got like
murked, yeah.
burned alive.
Yeah. There was a massacre.
Oh, I'm sorry for laughing. My bad.
They got birds alive. Ha ha ha. We know who the real villain is. Nick.
Yes.
Shinra also staged an attack on them by Wutai soldiers, but what really happened was Shinra killed a bunch of Wutai soldiers. So something's going on with that storyline. We also did some adventuring as Kate Sith, and we had to find the Shinra terminal in Nibelheim to learn about the Temple of the Ancients. When I was thinking about this, when I was reading the recap or writing it, why couldn't Reeve just hack from the Shinra building he's working out of?
I think he's got to be discreet on what he's doing, right?
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, he's
Sure.
kind of like, he's double agenting a bit here, so he's got to be careful of what he's actually doing.
Okay, I'll take that. We found out that Nibelheim's lab, the one that was underground in that old abandoned castle mansion place, there's a bodyguard there, and that happens to be a vampire named Vincent Valentine. And we had a little duel with the newly experimented on Roach, which was very scary, and then saw him turn into a black rope. So a lot happened there. And then we learned that Shinra, in true Shinra fashion, put Aerith back on their radar. But the biggest news of all, do you know what the biggest news of all was, Nick?
What's that?
Cloud remembers Zack was in Nibelheim with him. So it looks like storylines are starting to be tied up as we are approaching the end of the game. We are on chapter 12, but before we do that, I just realized I said before like twice. So I lied to you earlier. There's actually two things we have to do before we get to the episode. And Nick, you know what the next one is. Question of the day. We finally have the full members unlock of our party that were the original party in the first game, the original game. So it just makes sense that this question of the day will focus on a fan casting for an IRL Final Fantasy VII Rebirth movie. We're just going to focus on the original party members. And I already forgot who we casted in Remake. I think we did a casting in Remake.
We did, yeah. But there were less characters. Now there's more.
There's less, and now there's more. And also, like, there's been a lot of story development with these characters. So now we have a better understanding, like, especially with Cloud, who should play these characters. So let's start off with Cloud, the man.
Yeah.
I'm going with Austin Butler.
Okay.
You may know him from Elvis.
Yeah.
To me, he could do the dancing and the singing as Cloud does throughout the game. I mean, it fits, and he could play the serious role as well. He's pretty good, pretty versatile. Who do you have here?
I'll preface, one, to comment on your choice. I think it's a really good choice because I think you can play that brooding character very well. So great job on that. Secondly, I just want to say here, I'm going to put this out in the universe. I never want to see a live action Final Fantasy movie of this.
Absolutely.
I think in general, Final Fantasy VII, because the characters look the way they look, I don't think any real human can kind of make them like Sephiroth, for example. No one can make Sephiroth in real life look cool other than, video game Sephiroth, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's with anime too. It's the same thing. I wouldn't like to see a live action of my favorite animes because they just don't look right.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something about it, the hair, whatever. You can never get that cool anime hair properly. Final Fantasy has it. And I just think people most likely would look dumb. Yeah. Looking at both of our lists, I will double down on that and say, I never want to see this actually happen.
I know. As I was going through it, I'm like, I hope this never happens. Because like some of these are like actually pretty good hits. Yeah. But a lot of the ones that are good hits are like, if they were to like voice the character, if it was a CGI character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So never make this happen.
I looked on a lot of Reddit threads, and most people were in agreement. If they were to make a movie, just make it animated. Yeah. Please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that being said, I chose Robert Pattinson as Cloud because I think as we see as him and Bruce Wayne, he can play that kind of like emo character pretty well. And he's had movies where he's had blonde hair before. I think he can make it work. That's
true. I mean, you probably should have cast him as Vincent Valentine with his experience as a vampire.
True.
But that's neither here or there.
That's a good point.
Good choice, though. Good choice. I think he could do it as the Batman. Could bring that in here. For Zach, of course, because I know Zach's not a part of our party, but I mean, Zach is that counterpart we sometimes play as Zach. So I'm including Zach in this. I put Timothy Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Is it Chalamet?
Chalamet. What did you say again?
Chalamet.
Chalamet.
Chalamet. Imagine if I was friends with him, I would just say that like in greeting mode, like Chalamet.
You now know, like one day if you have to interview him, you now know for next time that you won't mess up.
No, I'm going to because I think it's just so much more fun.
Chalamet. Imagine you said that to his face. Oh,
hey,
boy.
Timothy Chalamet.
Interview ruined right there. Zach, I went for Paul Mescal. He's a very famous actor right now.
Why is he famous right now?
Well, he's been in a few pretty dominant roles. I think he was nominated for an Oscar or a Golden Globe or something like that.
Oh my gosh!
Yes, and he's going to play Paul McCartney in the new Beatles movie coming. Okay, and he's Gladiator 2. He's the main character.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So big things coming for this guy.
That was a good find. I realized as I was going through this casting, I haven't watched TV or movies in a very long time. No.
I think your list is pretty still relatively young.
We'll see. Okay. Tifa. I have Jung Ho Yeon, who is she was the final girl on oh my gosh, Squid Games.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, and like she's a model.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think it just fits.
I couldn't find anyone specifically for her role because I think I like Tifa too much, but I went with Naomi Scott.
Oh, that's a good one, actually.
From Aladdin.
Yeah.
Who's Princess Jasmine.
Pink Ranger as well.
And Pink Ranger, yes. but I couldn't find the person that was really calling to me. So I think yours is better.
Okay.
Yours is better.
All right, for Aerith, when
Yes.
there's a Tifa, there's an Aerith. And for my Aerith, I think when I wrote this, I was like, I feel like you might have casted this as well, but like in remake, when we were doing remake,
Might have.
this Aerith, Haley Steinfeld.
I think it's a good one.
And I feel like you might have casted her as Aerith.
Well,
Or
roll the
maybe
tape.
casted
No,
her in
just kidding.
another like game we were casting. I don't know. I remember.
Well, I mean, we've done it for almost every.
Yeah, I'm just
every
trying
game
to
we
think.
played.
I'm just trying to think who you would have cast her. But I remember you mentioned her, and I was like, ugh. But
There
I
you
think
go.
actually how Aerith has developed, and I think Haley could do it.
I went with Anya Taylor-Joy.
Okay, bringing some
Furiosa.
Princess Peach.
Yes, pure Princess Peach. I think she'd be great for that role.
Princess Peach action, and I know Princess Peach is just so royal and proper and just so nice, and Aerith is very similar, so I could see that. For Barrett, this one was like a toss up between Cole Domingo and John David Washington.
Yeah.
Cole Domingo, he was in The Walking Dead. I'm trying to think what else he was in,
Cool.
but I can't think of it right now. And obviously, John David Washington, Tennant. And I just feel like they could be really, really good. Maybe Cole a little bit more because he's a little older, a little rougher.
Yeah.
But those were my choices.
I think I went with the same choice from last time, which is Winston Duke.
Oh,
who's
yes.
M'Baku in Black Panther, and also Batman in the podcast version. I forget what it's called, of Batman something. I don't know. It was really cool. But anyway, I can't stray away from him for that one specifically because I think he'd be really, like, he's a big guy. I think he'd be really good for that role.
Ooh. Okay, for Yuffie. Yuffie's, we got to think about the energy that Yuffie will
Tough.
bring. I was thinking of Stephanie, and I'm sorry if I pronounced the last name a little bit incorrectly, Hisu, who is from Everything Everywhere All at Once. And also she had that other, like, it's comedy driven movie. I can't remember the name of it right now, but she was really funny in it. So I think she could bring like that quirkiness. She's younger. She can make the role like really her own.
I like that choice. I thought about that too because I think she's funny and she can play that role really well. I just went with a newcomer who was in the latest Hunger Games movie, Ashley Liao. Again, sorry if I mispronounced that name also, but I think she could play Yuffie.
Okay, all right. Now we have Red 13. So Red 13's interesting because we have two different voices. This would obviously in an IRL would be CG. Okay,
Yeah.
So you're not thinking the actors that I'm going to mention as the face, but just bringing that presence. And I think for Red 13, when we first meet Red, before we realize his age, either Keith David Williams, which iconic Spawn, very deep voice, or Christopher Judge, I think could make a really good like first impression Red 13. When we find out who Red is, JD McCrae, who is the voice of Simba in the live action, which really isn't a live action, Simba, Lion King movies, the young Simba.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I was thinking. And I just realized I might have typecast Red 13 because JD also played like a cat. I'm sorry.
If a teenager could actually pull off Christopher Judge's voice, that'd be pretty impressive because that is a low octave from him. For me, I wrote down me. That's who I wrote down. I think I could play Red 13 pretty well. I think I could do let me do this again. The planet is in danger, Cloud. And then I can also do, wow, Cloud, that's amazing.
That's really good. I would actually keep your normal voice for when we find out how old, like, who Red
it's pretty
really
high pitched
is.
and annoying. I agree.
A little nasally, like I think it works in well.
Damn it!
But I
hate
really
it.
do like your. No, but it's good though. But I like your impression of like the more wise Red. That's pretty good. I'm gonna put Nicholas Andrade for my choice now.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Kate Sith, now Scottish voice.
Yeah.
You know how I felt about this Scottish voice, although I think it is an actual Scottish character or actor, sorry, so I don't know Scottish accents well. And that is proven also by this choice I said Simon Pegg, who's obviously not Scottish. However, he does play Scotty in Star Trek movies. So I think he'd be fun.
Yeah.
I think he'd bring the humor of it. I think he has that upbeat vibe. Who'd you got?
I got Alan Cumming. And if you don't know him, he was Nightcrawler in X2.
Yes.
And he's Scottish. And he also is the now host of the TV show Traitors. And he always has these awesome flamboyant outfits. And he has this, his voice is just, I think, perfect for this role. And he can be up and down, funny, serious, whatever. I'd choose him.
All right. Well, I choose that we move on to Vincent Valentine. Vincent Valentine's an interesting one because he doesn't really say much. But for me, for some reason, Ben Barnes, who he was the actor in Westworld, The Punisher. Was he in The Punisher? He was, right? Was he in The Punisher?
Yes, he was.
Remember.
He was. Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
As well, like I think he'd just be good. I think he would need to like kind of push himself to be a little bit more like brooding and like stoic. But I think he could do it. And if you really cover like his bottom half of his face and like just look at his eyes, he kind of does look like Vincent Valentine.
Yeah, with his long hair too.
Yeah.
I like that choice. I went with Keanu Reeves.
Oh.
Again, great voice for that. He's got
like
the hair
that.
already, and he looks kind of old, right? So.
And then we have one more. Nick, Sid.
Yeah.
You love Sid.
Yes.
Sid is fun.
Yeah.
Captain. You know, he is the man. And when I think about that, he has a humor to him, but it's like a lovable humor, not annoying, not too childish. I think Bradley Cooper. I think he could be a little rough around the edges. We see that in his performances, Rocket. And I mean, he's already blonde, isn't he? I think he's blonde, like a dirty blonde. He's already halfway there to being Sid.
Yeah, and you would be an older character for sure.
Yeah.
I went with Matthew McConaughey because just
my gosh,
the southern drawl in his voice that he can do really well. Then I think that'd be perfect for this iteration of Sid from Rebirth.
Oh, that was a really good choice. I'm sad I didn't make that choice, but those are our picks. What are your picks? Let us know.
Who won too? Also,
what? This
Who
wasn't
won?
a competition. It was a discussion, but obviously I won. Well, with all that said and done, let's get to the source material and see if we could find the Temple of the Ancients right after this break in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Thank you for choosing Bronco Cruises. We sincerely hope you enjoyed your trip with us.
Cruises? I thought it was Bronco Airlines.
Not after his wings got clipped.
Seriously, we really appreciate you ferrying us around.
You're most welcome. Hey, y'all are headed to the saucer, ain't you? I might could tag along, take in the splendor. What do you think?
Of course.
Girl always knows just what to say. Am I right? Shall we?
Wait a sec. Where's Vincent?
Up there.
Another loner. As if one wasn't enough of a pain in my ass.
Yeah, one's more than enough. You mean me?
I love how everyone was laughing at Cloud's expense, but it serves him right. He never gets a good joke. He never gets it.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, so after, remember, we crashed the plane, or actually Sid crashed the plane. He was flying it. So they repair it. The best part of this is that while they're repairing it right before this clip, Yuffie is just on the, like, the wing, like throwing up and barfing. Like I like how this is still going, where Yuffie's just getting motion sickness every time she's in this plane.
Yeah, she
Poor
needs
girl.
to, I don't know, a lot of travel in this game, so she needs to figure it out.
Yeah. And instead of fixing the plane, Sid just kind of fixes it by making it into a ship, and you get to cruise along the coastline to your destination, Costa del Sol. And as you get there, or on your way actually there, we hear Sid talk about how he knows that the Keystone is at the Golden Saucer. And we find out actually he doesn't know where it is because it used to be kept at an antique museum. But he does know the curator of that museum, which is the Shinra Museum, after it was closed abruptly, became this guy named Dio, who is like the manager of the Golden Saucer. Dio, we saw Dio, we've interacted with Dio. And it also sounds like Vincent may have some gripe with Dio as well.
Yeah.
And Sid is familiar with Dio. I guess everyone knows Dio.
Well, I mean, Vincent, it seems like, has a past where he seems to know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I really am curious to see who he actually is.
Who is he? Well, that's not the time to find out because Sid ends up joining the party and we end up traveling to Costa del Sol. And then you could also go explore Costa del Sol again, or you could do what I did. Instead of going to the Gold Saucer and like just trekking up that mountain, you actually could just go back to your map and fast travel.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, to Gold Saucer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So did you? Oh, yeah. Someone took the long way.
I some people I've heard take the long way, and it's
Come
like,
on.
don't do that.
No.
Don't do that.
What is even the long way?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I wasn't watching Chris's gameplay this time, so I don't know if he actually took the long way. Well, you actually go through, like how you came before.
So you have to go through the wilderness of Mount Corral and back and take that buggy thing?
Well, no, you don't go through Mount Corral again, but like there's a shortcut instead of like just fast traveling.
Oh, well, that's common sense. Just fast travel.
Just fast travel. Just do it. Now, Kate tells Cloud and everyone pretty much so what happens when they arrive at the Golden Saucer. Kate actually holds Cloud back to tell him that anyone who enters the temple never actually leaves. And he's wondering if Cloud actually wants to risk his party to that happening. But Cloud kind of in Cloud fashion brushes it off and says, it's a legend, right? Like, don't bother with it. But it seems like this is something that's strong enough to make Kate Sith worry about it. So I feel like this is going to be important. When that happens, obviously they're looking for Dio, so the party splits up to find Dio. And as you go through the Gold Saucer, you'll run into Aerith, and she'll show you a poster that has Corneo and Dio facing off. It's a fight night. But obviously, if there's a fight night, there has to be dress rehearsals because, well, that's what the Gold Saucer is all about. It's all about entertainment. So Aerith has the bright idea to check out the dress rehearsals so then we could find Dio and ask about the Keystone. And when you do go into the arena where you eventually find Dio, can I just say, this is the most dressed up arena ever. There's posters everywhere of Dio, and they're like anime style. And then there's statues of Dio and Corneo, which made me laugh so hard. Like, it was so funny.
Just to see Dio, I mean, he's a very chiseled man, right?
He's so chiseled.
I would plaster myself all over the place in posters. I also didn't know and didn't want Corneo to be in this game at all.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty upset about it.
Yeah, I'm upset with Corneo making an appearance back. He was so creepy in Remake.
So creepy. He was very creepy. He also killed women. So I don't know if creepy even is enough to say.
So when we entered the arena, aside from checking out the cool anime posters on the billboard, like the billboards within the arena, we also see Dio in the center of the arena, and he's injured. He has a sling on his arm. He looks beat up in the face. And we find out that he had a fight with the Turks. And I'm guessing this when he helped us escape? I'm guessing?
Yes, because he had to fight the Turks while
Yeah.
we escaped. So I think they left a mark on him.
Yeah. So I guess It's interesting to put in perspective because I don't think the Turks are like too difficult of enemies, but I guess they are tougher than, when they're going up against Cloud, because they couldn't, they actually did one in for Dio, so I felt bad. And Dio's pretty much trying to figure out who is going to fight for his team because he's so beat up. Because this fight between him and Corneo means that he may lose everything. He may lose the naming rights for the gold saucer, and it could be taken over by Corneo. And immediately when he said that, I'm like, Dio, I am on your side.
I don't know. I feel like we've had to fight for people so many times in these past 2 games. I was kind of like, again, this is a very Mandalorian-esque quest where it's like, I'll give you this if you do this for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I get it. But this is Corneo. We need to stop Corneo
That's
from
true.
being Corneo.
Yes.
So I didn't give it a second thought. Cloud and Aerith didn't as well because they agreed to fight for Dio. And if they win for Dio, Dio's going to just give them the keystone, which was an interesting thing as well because Aerith made this comment about since she's a descendant of her ancestors that own this keystone, technically it should belong to her because she's the only descendant. And Dio said he can't argue with heritage, but then says, well, wait a second, if you fight in this fight, then I'll give it to you. It's like, dude, if you can't argue with heritage, just give her the keystone. Why does she have to fight for you?
Well, you knew that he wasn't gonna just
I know, but I'm like, could have worded that properly.
Imagine.
Didn't make sense.
Imagine though, she's like, it's mine, it's heritage, and he's like, all right, there you go.
Cool. Yeah.
Save us a whole mission.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would have been a really fun Easter egg. Everyone thinks you have to fight, and then if you choose no, you still get it. So pretty much when you do this, you have some time to explore the gold saucer, and this is your last chance to improve relationships. Nick, what did you do in this time?
Improve relationships.
How'd you do that?
I think I made sure to talk to everybody at least once around here, and then I went back, and so each character has their own separate side quests all around the world map. So I made sure to do that, and I think I didn't do Aerith's to make sure I wasn't going on a date with Aerith later on, and then I made sure to do Tifa's at this point because I knew there was a date coming up. That's what everyone keeps telling me, so I'm just like, got to make sure my Tifa relationship is extremely strong because I was super nervous about this through the whole time.
Yeah, I was nervous as well. How did you feel about doing like all these side quests though?
Good. Again, at this point of the game, I'm okay. I'm still okay with side quests.
Okay, all right. Well, I was okay with it too. You got to get those relationship emojis up. I guess they are kind of emojis.
Yeah, they are. They are emojis.
Right? So Cloud, after you do this, you actually head back to that spooky hotel that was, I forgot what chapter it was that we were staying at last time we were at the Gold Saucer, where it's like haunted theme, because that's, of course, where we're staying again. And as Cloud makes his way up, he actually sees Aerith writing something, but instead of bothering Aerith, he goes up to his room. But then we see that Kate Sith actually snoops around and sees that Aerith is writing a song. So very interesting. I didn't know Aerith had an artistic side to her where she's a songwriter.
Neither did I. I had no idea.
Full of surprises.
Yeah.
Full of surprises. It gave me like Una vibes. So I was like, okay, all right. I see you. Now, Cloud, as he's getting ready, or as he actually lies down to go to sleep, once he closes his eyes, he sees a vision of Aerith. And this is not the Aerith that he just saw writing a song. Instead, this is the other Aerith, who is in bed, still unconscious, with Marlene at her bedside at Elmira's house. And when he does, like, we know that this is a vision because he kind of snaps out of it. Like, he's kind of frightened by that vision, and he wakes up, he looks around his room, and he doesn't see anything, and then he goes back to his sleep. Was this the same hotel where he had that vision the first time?
Sure is. I think they've only stayed at the Haunted Mansion Hotel while they've been in Gold Saucer, I think.
Because it was the Gold Saucer he had that vision where he starts looking around the room, right? And we see Zach walking.
Yeah.
I
could
don't
be
know if
haunted.
it's the ghost of Zach and Cloud and Aerith Pass. It was just weird. I was like, why is this only happening at this hotel? I'm pretty sure it has nothing to do with these visions, but it's very, very, very interesting. After this, Nick, we take control of Zach to take water up to Cloud and Aerith. And then, well, something interesting happens.
Aerith sure does sleep a lot, huh?
It's better this way.
What? Why?
Because of Cloud. He's still sick. Please, you gotta make Cloud get better. You gotta.
I mean, I'd love to, but... You said it's better for Aerith to stay asleep because Cloud's sick. Why's that?
Because she'll die if she wakes up.
Oh, you think? What makes you say that?
Promise not to tell? When she wakes up, a scary man is gonna kill her.
Huh?
Cloud tries to save her, but he doesn't make it in time. He almost does, but he doesn't. She likes Cloud, so she's happy he came. Really, really happy. But she dies. That's why you have to make Cloud better. If he's sick, he can't save Aerith.
Marlene, are you sure you didn't just have a bad dream?
No. I saw it.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Don't worry, I believe you. With everything that's going on, how could I not?
Okay.
Just one question, if it's all right. Can you tell me what this scary man looked like? Please?
His hair was long. And gray.
Of all the people.
So remember, Cloud saw Marlene by Aerith's bedside. So it seems like he's seeing this in real time, in a sense, when it's happening. So he's able to see across this timeline or other universe, whatever you want to call it. But it's very interesting what's happening with Marlene here, which I know we'll talk more as we get into segment 3. But what she's saying here about knowing that Aerith is going to die and Cloud needs to save her makes me feel more and more like she actually may be a Sentra or a descendant of
Marlene?
Marlene, like a descendant of like, or like have some sort of like, how is it that she's aware of what's happening? And what she's recounting, I'm pretty sure, is what happened in the original game.
Yeah. Well, we don't know too much about her mother, right?
No.
So it's very possible.
Is she a Cetra? I don't know. But what I do know is Zach is taking everything Marlene says very seriously, which is also very interesting. I feel like Zach knows something is up, and we've seen him be a lot more intuitive than we've ever seen Cloud be in these 2 games that we've had Cloud now. He's definitely more the character that likes to ask questions, is taking notes, and not afraid to like keep looking for those clues of like what's going on. And I think that's why he's open to what Marlene is saying, because he knows something is up.
Yeah, I think he says something along the lines of like, with everything that's been going on, like there's no reason not to believe you.
Exactly.
Like, so, but it's a strange, this one, I think this cutscene was the first Zach cutscene where I was like, whoa, okay. And now we're getting somewhere, because we all know about what happens to Aerith in the original game. So we're all trying to figure out what's going to happen to her in this game. And Marlene straight up says she's going to die if she wakes up. So what the hell does that mean in general?
It's like you can't just drop that bomb, kid, all right, and just be like, all right. But then the more interesting part is that Marlene says to Zach, hey, instead of you saving her, you need to make sure Cloud wakes up to save Aerith, because when she wakes up, she is going to die.
Yeah.
Which, as technically Zach is at this point Aerith's boyfriend, that's probably like also a slap in the face because he's trying to figure out like the relationship between Aerith and Cloud at the same time, because he hears people talking about how they know about Cloud, the soldier Cloud, the, Cloud that we've been playing as this whole time, not the Cloud as he remembers it, which it seems like there may be a different type of personality or maybe like a different status that Cloud had there, right? So there's so much here for Zach to process. I have no idea how he's so calm about it.
I don't think he's worried. I don't get the sense that he's worried about the relationship between Cloud and Aerith.
I don't think he's worried about his relationship between Aerith and Cloud, but I think he's curious about Cloud and Aerith.
Really? I don't get that sense at all. I think he's just trying to like figure out how to save these two and make sure that they wake up. I don't really get if there's a romantic intention here. I'm not feeling it here from Zach.
Okay. That's fair. I don't know if it's romantic. I think it's just curiosity.
Or jealousy.
I think it's just curiosity, but we'll see. We'll see. And then we also hear, as you heard there, Marlene confirm that the man who kills Aerith is Sephiroth. It alludes to it being Sephiroth. And I think that's why Zach's able to make that connection so quickly, because we know he was in Nibelheim with Sephiroth and Cloud all those years ago. So it's very interesting. I wonder what's going through his mind. He then tells Elmira, after this incident with Marlene, that he has to see Hojo about Cloud.
So is he close to Hojo in this timeline?
Well, he's technically a soldier in this timeline, right?
Yeah, but he's also like aiding and abetting Avalanche.
Well, yeah. And he was shot at by Shinra.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, all
right. But I think it's just one of these situations where he knows there's something more going on here, and he knows the only person that could help him or give him answers, whether he needs to force it out of him or not, is Hojo. So I think that's what it is.
Okay.
And the weird thing is, too, because Elmira knows Hojo, right? And Zach doesn't share that it's Hojo he's talking about. He just says, someone. And she's like, is it a doctor? And he's like, kinda. Yeah, sure.
I don't think I would tell her either if it's Hojo. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's I guess, he knows that Elmira's relationship with Shinra because of Aerith, right? So, it's interesting what's going on here. But he asks Elmira to keep Aerith there if she wakes up and do not let her move anywhere. So he's taking Marlene's warning very seriously here. We'll see as Zach is going to his motorcycle, he actually gets a note that was left there by Biggs telling Zach to keep out of Reactor 6, alluding that he's going to go blow up Reactor 6 because that was his greater purpose. You remember that conversation him and Biggs had about what is their purpose? What are they trying to do here? And I thought it was more of like, what are they doing specifically in that place? Because they don't remember a lot of things.
Yeah.
But I think Biggs took it as like, what's his purpose in life? And maybe like, if you're looking at it on a meta scale, like, what's his purpose in the game? Like, why is he back? Right? We're seeing these people that passed away. What is their purpose if they are back? So maybe there's going to give us answers here, but obviously Zach's very upset about this. And I guess that maybe delays his run to Hojo because now he's trying to rush to Biggs to, I guess, stop him from what he's going to do, but we don't know what that is yet.
Do you know? Well, yeah, he's going to blow up, what is it? The sector, it's the Reactor 6?
Yeah, Reactor 6.
Like, why is Zach so upset about it? Is it because people are gonna die, or is it because
I think it's because people's gonna die. Like, and that's the thing. How much does Zach know? Like, can Zach, if Cloud is having these visions, does Zach have visions from Cloud's perspective in this world?
right? I really don't know anything about Zach at this moment, so
We actually don't know a lot about Zach.
No.
Like, is he having any visions? The game doesn't give us any reason to believe that he is. So that's why just default, I'm saying he's upset that Biggs is going to go blow up this reactor.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then it's pretty much like everything that happened before is going to happen again. Oh my gosh, I'm not ready. Now back to Cloud, and it notes that 2 hours has passed. Does that seem like the time we've spent with Zach, maybe 2 hours in their world?
So was Cloud?
Because when Cloud wakes up, it says like the hotel or whatever, and then it says 2 hours.
Is that on purpose? Like, what's
Passed.
the meaning for the? Like, are we supposed to know that for a reason?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why are they? I'm like looking at every little detail, Nick. 'Cause
yeah.
why are they putting it there?
They don't really tell us things unless they're trying to show us something, right? So maybe I'm missing something here.
Well, I'm thinking if 2 hours have passed, I think that is like about everything that happened with Zach could be in the span of 2 hours. Not a lot happened there. So maybe it is that Cloud is seeing everything in real time as it's happening.
Yeah.
Now we have the opportunity to get to what you were building your relationships on or for, the date. We now wake up, and this is where things get really interesting if you're invested in the relationship building of this game, because it is date night. You are able to have a night out on the Gold Saucer Town with your date of choice based on how you romanced every character in your party. And, well, Chris, he got a night out on town, which means that Vincent, Kate, and oh my gosh, who's got Sid? Yes, thank you. Show up at your door to like, hey, let's check out this show and let's go on the Skywheel. We didn't get that, right, Nick? We did the right thing.
Well, it just proves that he didn't relationship build at all in this game, because those are the three characters that you can't relationship build.
Exactly.
With. Wow, we just had him as a guest last week, and this is what he does to us. Unbelievable.
I don't know, but you know what? Let's tell him what he's missing, because Nick, I know you got who I got.
I got Tifa, and I remember specifically hearing that knock on the door, just like in chapter, what was it, 8?
Yeah.
Where at that time, if you also have a strong relationship with whoever, that's who shows up. I had Tifa back then, and then the knock on the door is getting really nervous because I'm like, please, I only have one shot at this. I can't mess this up because I need to explore my romantic feelings for Tifa. Please be Tifa. And I opened the door, and it was Tifa, and I was relieved.
I thought you were going to say, like, I heard that knock on the door, and I remembered how Tifa's hands felt on, like, her, like how it sounded on the wood door, and it sounded the same, so I knew I locked in Tifa. But I'm proud of you, Nick. I got Tifa as well. And pretty much as you go through this, you're going to see a play called Loveless. And as you make your way down to the auditorium, it kind of cuts to Aerith, who is, well, it shows like the other party members that are also at this play, but they're not sitting with you. I guess everyone went to check out the show. And then it cuts to Aerith, who is kind of backstage or like somewhere with these people who are running the show, and they tell her that she made it and ask her if she wants to sing. And then it cuts back to Cloud again. So Aerith's songwriting, Aerith in a show maybe, Aerith singing. What other mysteries does this girl have?
Yeah,
I don't know.
She's a jack of all trades.
Yes, the Jill of all trades, I'll say.
Jill of all trades.
And so we head back into the auditorium with Cloud and Date for us, Tifa. And then you put on like these VR glasses or goggles, and it starts the play or the intro to the play, which is a dance with a surprise blast from the past in the intro, which is a dance of like a bunch of dancers, I guess, to this song. We see Jessie. who is the lead.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this, even though we saw the posters in Gold Saucer in chapter 8 when we were walking around. But I didn't think that they still were playing the show after she died.
I was confused at all of this because the VR, are they showing you what you personally want? Or was she an actress back in the day and that was her part? Because I remember her talking about her being an actress.
I think that she was an actress because remember when we were in Gold Saucer before, they saw the poster with Jesse.
Right. But I'm just confused because of everything else that happens afterwards.
Yeah.
It's almost like you make your own play.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I was just very confused at this point.
It's very confusing, but I think the intro is supposed to be Jesse. And you see the party getting emotional about seeing Jesse as well, because Barrett, Tifa especially, have a history with Jesse and knows exactly what happened with her. They're probably the closest actually in the party. From there, we see, and you know what, Cloud actually says something really nice. Like, I think Tifa, if she's your date, she says something along the lines of like, oh, you know, like she was a really good like performer or something like that. It was so nice to see her again. And then Cloud like says something like she really was, you know, and it's like very touching and sentimental. From there, you start the Loveless play. And this is why it's confusing, because the play starts, it's in VR, but your friends and fellow party members are taking on the roles of the different characters. And you have to go through the play, like play through the play. This is very interesting because it's so weird.
Yeah, I just going through this play as the characters, I just kept like, I feel like my mouth was open the entire time because I was just like, what is going on here? And how long is this? But I thought it was cool because you got each of the characters are playing a certain role, but it's pretty corny. I'll be honest with you. It's pretty damn corny.
It is pretty corny because it's like this like run of the mill, like medieval type of play that's like very Shakespearean inspired. Mm-hmm. Actually, I would say more like Greek, like theater inspired.
Okay.
I'm a theater kid, so sorry
clearly
for being specific there. But yeah, it's very, very corny. But the premise is pretty much like you have to break out and like face off against a few enemies and then be reunited with your love. And well, it ends like this.
Bereft of wings and broken, I consign you to the abyss.
An inspiring victory, truly. Proof that love indeed conquers all, is it not?
What awaits you at Journey's End, I wonder? Will the goddess grant you her blessing? Or will the flames of vengeance consume you? All shall be revealed, O puppet of fate. So dance while you still have time. Dance till your frayed strings break, and you can dance no more.
Alfred, look. Must you go?
Those I hold dear are waiting.
I don't understand. I cannot. But please be safe.
Rest assured, I shall return. You needn't promise that you'll wait, for I know that I will find you here.
Right, so in that clip we heard Aerith in the role of Rosa, and of course Cloud is in the lead role of Alfred, which is such a weird name. But according to how you romanced, you could actually change the main role of the character. So if you're closer to Tifa than Aerith, Rosa will actually be Tifa. If you're closer to Yuffie, Rosa will be Yuffie. So you could actually change it between those three, Tifa, Aerith, and Yuffie. And then, of course, if you're closer to like Sid or anyone else, if you didn't romance anyone, or closer to Barrett or Red 13, it will default to Aerith.
So it has to be a woman.
It has to be
That's
one of the
disappointing.
women characters. Yeah, it would have been fun. And it's cool too because you also see like you get to see like Red 13 as like all these villains and like Barrett as a villain as well. So it's fun. And you actually have to fight them in their villain form. After you
Fight them.
It's kind of fight
just
them.
triggers.
It's quick action.
Yeah.
It's quick time event. So it's like, you're just pressing like triangle, square, whatever. It's kind of similar to the parade, when you're doing that, but not as intense.
Mm-hmm.
Now from that, you finish the play and the play ends and there's a surprise performance by the one, the only, Aerith ends the play. And this is where things get confusing. Because I thought the play may be actually your friends based off the VR. Like, I think the Jessie part was like everyone sees Jessie.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought as they get into the play, no matter who you are, you see like your friends, people close to you, as those characters in the play. But then everyone saw Aerith.
Wait, everyone did see Aerith?
Yeah, because then Yuffie, it cuts to
How do you know?
Yuffie and Sid while Aerith is singing.
Yeah.
Cuts to Yuffie, Sid, and Sid's falling asleep. And Yuffie like hits Sid, and then he looks and he sees Aerith.
Really? I honestly thought this was just your own vision.
No. So yeah, you get like the audience reaction and they're all like so overcome with emotion, but they're also like in their uniforms. Like, I mean, in the play, like the costumes from the play characters. So it's very confusing.
Right. I don't know what's going on here. I think the song was nice. I think it was emotional and touching, but you could.
I mean, it's no 1,000 words.
You couldn't get me. What's 1,000 words?
Yeah, 1,000 words. Dun, 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 ages. Unisong.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh. Dun, 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 dun.
She a better singer than Aerith?
It's just more of a ballad. Like, it's very much a ballad, very catchy.
Okay.
Like, very, I'm here for wings. You gotta
Sounds
hear it.
amazing.
So
yeah.
Oh,
really
there's lots of ad-libbing.
I really
as
get the
well.
feel of it from
Yeah,
you.
it's like one of the ones there's a lot of ad-libbing, which, draws in the emotion. So yeah, it's not that, but it's still a good song. And it's nice to see the characters react to it. Another weird thing, as the song ends, we see like the live stream come out as Aerith is finishing off the song. So I don't know if she in particularly reacts to this because I do think this is outside of the VR. And then it is ruined because they cut to Chadley in the audience who invited Mr. Chadley here.
I hate that guy so much. He's the bane of my existence.
Oh my gosh, same here, Nick. As soon as they saw his little like scarf, I was like, oh, don't tell me this is the guy. And of course, it was Chadley. But then it also switches to like in the audience part where Chadley is. You see Jessie, Biggs, and Wedge waving goodbye. What is that?
Yeah, it was really sad.
What does that mean?
It means that this is their end. They're off into the live stream.
But then why are they there? Is this a vision from Aerith? Is Aerith seeing this?
Again, I don't understand what's going on, but I'm just here for the ride.
It's sad. I'm here for the ride.
Is this VR? What's happening? Are you getting a vision from VR? How do they know what your emotions feel like? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, that's the thing. When they shoot, like, they go to the shots of the audience. I don't think it's in the VR. And, like, I'm like, if this was a vision, why would they put Chadley in there? That's lame.
Very lame.
Right? But then we do see Aerith reacting as well as she sees the live stream. And she sees Jessie. And she sees Biggs and Wedge waving goodbye. And then that got me thinking about something that I'm gonna Remind me, Nick,
Okay.
mark my word, because I didn't write this down in the rundown, but remind me to bring this up in segment 3 because I think I have a theory
Okay. Sure.
here about what's happening.
All right.
But after this, the play is finished and we go to Skywheel on our date. Yeah, it's date night. Everything we've been working forward to.
But we just sit here and spin? Could at least thrown in a joystick.
That seems joysticky.
Oh? Some dumb kid's toy.
Come on, at least we can enjoy the scenery. Just look! You've got a space battle unfolding right before your very eyes! Tell me that doesn't send a chill down your spine! Oh no! Evasive action!
Hard to port.
Oh, made it by the skin of our teeth! You know, people sometimes ask me to predict who will win a race. Ah, come off it, I tell them. If I could do that, I wouldn't still be working here now, would I? Huh? 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 Whoa! Whoa! Talk about a breathtaking spectacle! Seriously, are you lads seeing this? To hell with you wee scunners! Barbarians! I provide entertainment in spades and all I get is crickets!
Can we go any faster? This is
And
torture.
how do you think I feel?
Kate, zip it.
Why are you taking his side? I'm the one trying to make this fun! Open the doors! Let me off of this thing!
So maybe it's not date night for everyone. Maybe it's just boys' night out if you didn't romance anyone.
That was horrible. Especially, you can build relationships with, what, 4 other characters? No, 5. 5 other characters.
Yeah.
Tifa, Aerith, Barrett, Red, and Yuffie. And to have that cutscene after all your painstaking work would be just horrendous.
Horrible. Although it's funny, I like the humor that Kate brings in, and I'm so sorry, Chris, again capturing everything for getting this cutscene. I'm gonna quickly run down some of the other ones.
Yep.
So you could get Barrett. Barrett reluctantly goes on, or Cloud reluctantly goes on this date with Barrett, and Barrett makes like this joke that he says, "Incredible." Literally, that's what he says.
Yeah.
It's so weird. He also talks about a girl, Mynra, he used to like, and then he also tries to find out who Cloud's soulmate is, obviously because he's aware of the love triangle that's happening on between him, Aerith, and Tifa. If you go on a date with Yuffie, it's not really a date, it's like taking your little sister out, and she gets motion sickness in true Yuffie fashion. She talks about Tifa and learning about Cloud and Tifa and the deal that's going on there, and hearing that Tifa has a huge crush on Cloud, and Cloud kind of blushing and asking about it by not really asking about it. Yuffie also, this is interesting, Yuffie also talks about that she kind of had a thing for a soldier before as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of thinking she's alluding to maybe Zack, someone who she faced off against when she was in Wutai, and instead of firing shots at her, or like instead of fighting her really, they kind of like brushed her off, but in a very nice way, and she kind of realized how nice the person was being and realized that she liked them.
Okay.
Red 13 is very, very, very excited about the Skywheel. Red also says something else that we'll talk about in segment 3. And then there's Tifa. Tifa. Okay, Nick.
Yeah.
We got Tifa as our date. How'd you feel about this date with Tifa?
Oh, just incredible. Just waiting for them to, end the night on a kiss. And then after some talk, I'm just like, come on, go for it, Cloud. Come on. And he does it. And I feel like I succeeded as a game player to get this match to happen.
That's BS, Nick. This date was horrible.
What? Why?
This was the worst
They
date
opened up
ever.
with each other more. They're very closed off with each other. They finally, like, it took a while, but they managed to open up with each other and finally
Tifa,
say how they feel.
Oh my God, this date with Tifa, I was so disappointed because we did all that work, okay? Because after you get in this Skywheel, the first thing Cloud says when things get a little bit romantic is, did Aerith talk to you, to Tifa? That's what he says to Tifa. Who mentions another girl on a date?
But it was just to talk about the vision that he had. I get it.
Well, no, you don't mention it here. And then, we find out that Tifa's lying because Tifa actually did talk to Aerith about the vision. But instead of revealing that to Cloud, she says, no, she hasn't had a chance to talk to Tifa or Aerith about it. And then they talk about, like, Tifa says something about, I think because she realizes Cloud is mentioning another girl, she takes it as, like, Cloud's not interested in her. Mm-hmm. And he pretty much just says, like, yeah, things are like, I don't find them awkward, even though it's totally awkward between the two of them throughout the day. And Tifa, so much so that Tifa mentions, like, this is kind of weird for us to be here alone, this close together. And he's like, yeah, I guess so. And then goes in for a hug.
I think this has always been their rapport, though, really.
Baby back bull.
Listen,
back bull.
If you're feeling this way, then why don't you go with Aerith then?
I am feeling this way is because there should have been more, like holding hands, something.
But they always had a tense relationship. You know this.
But he goes in for a hug? Especially, Nick, this is going to get you mad because I don't know if you know what happens with Aerith's date. Let's find out what happens on Aerith's dates, which makes me really upset. Anyways, on Aerith's date, they have a very natural conversation. Then Cloud actually asks if Tifa has talked to Aerith. Aerith says no, although we find out she's lying because she knows Tifa talked to her. And then Aerith and Cloud go on to hold hands. They hold hands.
Is that all they do?
He goes and he grabs her. He grabs her hand. And I think this is the game telling us that they're supposed to be together.
Well, do they kiss?
No.
Okay, but we kiss
But they come
Tifa.
close. They come close.
We kiss Tifa, and there's fireworks after.
True.
I'm just saying. It's maybe a little. It's tougher for them to talk about their feelings together, but I feel like their relationship's stronger. That's all I'm saying.
All I knew. Nick, I was pissed off because I was like, did the game make me think I had control over this and they're going to just take that control away? I don't know. Anyways, date's done. Whoever you end up with.
You're like mad now.
I'm so mad.
I think it went fine. I was happy with the ending.
All right. Well, after the end of that date, whatever you may take it as it is, you can't really think too long about it because the Turks show up and they show up with Rufus and they're looking for the temple as well. They believe that the temple and the ancient land, which was like the promised land or whatever, is one and the same. So it seems like Rufus is really getting serious about this. And it shows because then we have to actually fight the Turks. And there's this whole like Corneo rap thing. It's very awkward, very weird. I really don't like Corneo rapping.
Nope.
But before we could fight the Turks, we do have to fight Corneo and the Abzu. Abzu was the same thing we fought in Remake, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, it's back.
But this time,
it's
Corneo rides the Abzu.
Yeah, I know. Don't finish that sentence. Yeah. Don't finish that sentence. They do have lots of health, so you got to watch out for that. Watch out for the ground pounds and the charge as well from the Abzu. And I mean, just beat Corneo because he deserves it. He's gross. He's disgusting. And we will be dubbed Dio's champs once we beat them. High fives. There's this also, this is so awkward, which makes me so mad because of the date. When they all, like the party gets all like happy that they beat Corneo and the Abzu. There's this awkward high five between Tifa and Cloud, and the camera like zooms in on them high fiving. And I really do feel like this is the game developer saying, see, they're just meant to be friends.
Okay.
Gets me so mad.
Yeah.
Gets me so mad. Well, after this fight, we are awarded the Keystone. But like I said, the Turks were on their way and they do show up in the arena. And they end up stealing,
Of course.
the Keystone with the help of Kate Sith, who grabs it. Because what happens here, Rude and Elena play hot potato, passing the Keystone, and then finally passes it to Kate Sith, who then leaves the arena running. And everyone in the party's like, what the heck's going on? So now this leaves Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith to have a rematch with Rude and Elena. How'd you find this fight?
It's definitely a scale up from the last time we fought them.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty hard. I think I died once or twice. But I just went with targeting Elena first because I feel like her moves were more annoying, and then that gave me the opportunity to face Rude one-on-one. But Elena's so fast, and then Rude hits really strong, really powerful. So you got to dodge, but it's really hard to because Elena's so fast.
Well, it only gets tougher because when you think you beat the Turks, guess what? A new challenger enters the arena.
We're just getting warmed up. Right, Rude?
This fight's far from over.
Esteemed spectators, if you would be so kind as to direct your attention to the center of the ring. To ensure a fitting climax for this spectacle, we've invited a special guest. Now, let's give a round of applause for the Shinra Electric Power Company's very president, Rufus Shinra!
Who could have seen this insane turn of events? Aren't you, Falcon?
Shinra's president himself has taken the stage, and the crowd is electric!
Mr. President, what are you doing here?
You're still a Shinra employee, at least on paper. And as your boss, I figured I'd dispose of you personally.
Was that meant to be a joke?
You two go. Wait in summer.
Got my number this time?
Let's see, shall we?
I've heard of aggressive managers, but this boss is cutthroat!
It's corporate downsizing with a vengeance. You want to savor the action. Don't even think about leaving your seat. In fact, don't even blink.
All right, that's right. Rufus enters the fight and leaves Rude and Elena to go wait with Sung for, I guess, the Keystone. I have no idea. Rufus is here. That's freaking awesome. Not really.
There were literally, before I started playing this game months ago,
Yeah.
the one thought I had in my head was, please, if we have to fight Rufus again, can the mechanics be different? I thought I don't want to fight, because I remember in Remake, it took me a long time to beat Rufus because his counters, you can barely do any attacks. And then so he comes, and my instant thought is, please, God, make sure it's not the same fight. And it was the same fight.
Yeah, it was exactly the same battle. So you have to watch out for Rufus's counters, and then Darkstar jumps in to fight with Rufus. It's really hard.
You can't attack. You can't attack normally at all. I used Fira as much as possible. But yeah, it's difficult.
It's the freaking worst. But after you beat Rufus down, you don't defeat him, but instead he throws a coin in the air and pops like it's smoke everywhere, and then he just leaves. Which is like, okay, sure, he's just playing with us. Maybe he was trying to have us distracted because we know Kate has the Keystone and is running away. So now it's time to find Kate Sith around the gold saucer. And for this part, Kate is hiding like in multiple places. So you'll see Kate in a shop amongst a whole bunch of plushies, Moogle plushies. And he's there. Then he's in the lobby of the gold saucer. And once you actually finally catch up to Kate and you ask Kate to hand over the Keystone, Well, actually, you see him handing over the keystone to Sung.
Got it. Be safe.
We do. Care to explain, Cat?
It's, not how it looks?
What was I thinking? Trusting you. The company man with a heart of gold. Huh? What a joke.
Barrett, no! Please!
Screw it. Piece of shit ain't worth the bullets anyway.
I don't understand. Why?
Because he's an asshole! One we should have never trusted in the first place.
Don't. He deserves it.
Not you too. Knew from the start it had to end this way, but it still stings. For a moment there, it felt like we were friends.
Now, we have a traitor in our midst, and it is Kate Sith as he hands that keystone over to Sung, but they do exchange some words. So we hear Kate Sith tell Sung to be careful. And Sung tells Kate, you too, as he looks to the group. I think Sung and Kate are working together aside from the Turks. I just have a vibe about it.
Oh, so you think he's a double agent, a triple agent?
Triple agent, something's happening. Maybe they have their own, little goal here. But I do think, based off of Kate's reaction with the group turning their back on him, he's actually hurt. He doesn't want to lose that friendship. And I think Sung may be helping him.
Maybe. I mean, I felt bad for him when he was just like, I knew it had to end this way, but he wants to be friends with these people. But again, at the end of the day, he's still loyal to Shinra. So we got what we expected.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to happen now, so I'm really pissed because I didn't finish leveling up all his microphones. So I'm freaking pissed about that. That was the one thing I was pissed about. I still need
him in the party.
Because I looked at my saves. I'm like, did I save before this? I'm like, no, I didn't. God damn it.
Yeah, we didn't expect that to happen. But that is the end of this chapter. At the end of this episode, which is right after this break, we're going to be just breaking down some theories that we have here about what's happening.
Zach, did you see? They're blooming.
Would you look at that?
These were always Aerith's favorites. Do you think this means she's going to wake up?
Maybe. Can always hope.
So a lot happened this episode, Nick. I want to actually double back to talk about that Marlene moment where Zach is hearing the lowdown.
Yeah.
Because we see a flash when Marlene's explaining that, Aerith will die. And Zach asks, how do you know this? Are you sure you weren't dreaming? And we see a flashback from Marlene's perspective of Marlene and Aerith in seventh heaven. Do you remember that?
Yes, when she went...
Yes, when Aerith shushed Marlene, but it appears in that static.
Yes, it does.
Like that classic cloud static. And there was a static if you go back to remake during that cutscene, when they do hug, there's a static, and then Marlene says, wait, and that's when Aerith shushes her. What looking back at remake, what happened there? Because we were kind of on the fence. I think we left off where we were like, is Marlene Citra? Like, is she sensing something with Aerith? Do you still think that?
Yeah, and we get a point where Marlene has an idea, like she can see in the future or something like that. It's kind of, her powers are almost the same as Aerith's, right? She can see things that haven't happened yet or have happened. She knows things. I think that's my only thought of who she could be. Again, Barrett is not her actual father. It's Dine, and we have no idea what Dine and his relationship with his mom, her relationship with his mom was. So, she's got to be a Cetra, in my opinion.
I'm still on the fence with the Cetra. Like, I think there's potentially two possibilities, or maybe a combination of the two. Is it that Aerith is potentially giving Marlene these visions of the future? Because I think back to when Aerith and Cloud first met, and when they passed the flower on the street, there was that static again. And Cloud was able to see the whispers. Is Aerith a part of her, I guess like her infinity with the life stream, able to open up the knowledge of the life stream to other people? Like, if the life stream is like all knowing, carries so much knowledge of like whether this is different timelines or universes, is Aerith able to tap into that and potentially share that with other people?
So you're saying Aerith gave Marlene this power?
I would say she gave her like snippets of knowledge. Like, I think when Zach asked her, Arlene, when Zach, is that like one of the Simpsons, the hillbilly characters? It sounds like it should be anyways.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know for sure.
It's something lean. Anyways, that's another conversation for later. But with Zach saying this, the reason why I say this, when Zach says this, Marlene specifically goes to that moment. Like, that is when she knows that happens. And maybe it was through like that. Like, I went back and looked at that cutscene, and it was when they hug that she gets the static. And that's what she flashed back to in this moment. And that's when she kind of clues into something happening with Aerith. Did she get a glimpse of Aerith's death?
Maybe, yeah, if she touched her. But then wouldn't that mean, I don't know.
Like, I think Aerith kind of like,
it'd be pretty cruel.
Aerith was aware.
It would be pretty cruel though to give Marlene these powers. A little child.
It'd be cool.
And for no reason. Maybe Marlene
is cool?
Cruel.
Oh, I said it'd be cool.
No, she's like 5 years old.
Well, I don't think she gave powers. I think she gave her snippets of knowledge, and it may have been something that's.
Why
but I
give
think
her
it's something,
snippets of knowledge? A 5-year-old.
But I think it's something that it's not like necessarily in Aerith's power as she's discovering who she was. Like, I don't think that was in her power before, because I'm thinking, how did the party realize, like, see the whispers? We were talking about this when we were going over remake. Like, who sees the whispers? Is it just Cloud that sees them? Was it everyone? Obviously, at the end, it's kind of like everyone.
But they didn't always see the whispers.
No, it was mostly Cloud, and he was the most contact with Aerith, which I would explain why he sees the whispers. And then as the party became in contact with Aerith, they start seeing the whispers. It's like they have their eyes open to the wealth of knowledge that is in the live stream because of Aerith.
Maybe Marlene is the secret to everything that changes in this story. That is the new Final Fantasy VII.
I don't know, man. All I know, I'm reaching here. Maybe this is too much of a reach, but I feel like there's something more to Marlene.
Oh, there definitely is.
Or like something more to like Aerith's abilities. We also see that, like, and the thing, yeah, that's another thing. Sephiroth also has this power. Like, is it that because of his relationship with Juno, like he also is able to pull from the live stream the knowledge that it has?
No, I think he's a descendant of the Cetra, isn't he? Also?
Well, yeah, because of
no, but isn't Aerith the only one?
No, so he's not. It's because of oh my gosh, what's her name? What's his mom's name? Sephiroth's mom.
Genova.
Genova, thank you. I was like Juno. Genova. Because of Genova, that's why I would think he has that affinity to the live stream. Like he's able to understand it. And I think the Cetra understood the live stream from what I'm gathering.
Yeah.
So I think like him and Aerith have very similar powers. And he, when he appears, has that static. When Aerith first appeared, she would trigger that static with Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
She triggered it with Marlene. And they become more knowledgeable on things.
You're in the weeds on this one, I think.
All right. Okay.
No, I'm not discrediting. I'm just saying, like, you have like the Charlie. What's the guy from Always Sunny where you got the threads and you're like,
oh, I see what's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, this now takes me back to my theory about the performance when she's singing and we see the live stream and we see Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse wave goodbye,
mm-hmm.
and Aerith is crying. I think she's seeing what's going to happen in that other timeline.
I think she sees just that. I think this was, if I didn't think, like, okay, I thought maybe she wouldn't die in this game. After that performance, I think she's still going to die.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I think this was her swan song, if you will.
Like this is her goodbye
Yes.
to everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I could see that as well. But it still doesn't explain the vision. Is it like, it's not like they were welcoming her because she knows she's going to die. She's going to join them.
Yeah.
They were waving goodbye, and now knowing that Biggs is going to blow up the Reactor 6,
Yeah.
is it that they are fated to die no matter where they are? And she's seeing that they're going to die again?
No? Yes?
Nick doesn't know.
Also, though, isn't Wedge still alive in this timeline?
In this time. Oh, yeah.
He didn't die. However,
But it could have not been this timeline. We don't know if it was this timeline that we saw.
right. If you play one of the side missions, you find out that Wedge actually dies afterwards anyway.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what?
Yes. There's a proto. So I don't know if you know anything about this. We probably shouldn't get into it, but there's this whole proto relic side quest thing.
Yes, the proto relic.
Yes, with Gilgamesh.
Yes.
And one of them, I think it's in Cosmo Canyon, is the story about how Wedge dies. And he literally falls off the Shinra building and splats.
I mean, this whole thing is getting, like, we're getting answers, Nick, but it's kind of like still a lot of theories. It's getting out of hand. Our theories are getting out of hand, but I know because we have so many theories out there, one of them has to hit. We have to be right somewhere.
It's a slow burn, but I'm going to say none of what I'm predicting is going to happen.
Well, guess what? On top of Marlene's warning, we do actually get a second warning in the game. And you may be unaware about this, but it's Red 13 on his date that warns Cloud to keep Aerith safe. So this is pretty interesting because Red again says to, I guess because, you know, it's a date, special time to share, tells Cloud that him and Aerith could actually see the future when they were in the lab together. So we get information there as well. And then he actually asks Cloud to promise him that he'll keep Aerith safe.
I hate when they say these things. Like, they're literally going into danger at all the time. Oh,
Yeah.
keep her safe. Like, okay, yeah, sure. But how can I guarantee that?
I feel like Cloud probably is just like, okay, I promise I will. And then he goes back to his room and he just like vents like, how am I supposed to guarantee this?
Come on.
You know, but obviously because he could see the future. So he also knows Aerith's faith in that she was meant or fated to die in the original and thinks that may happen as well, which Aerith is also aware of. And like you said, the song to me gave me the same vibes. Like it was her saying goodbye to her friends as well.
Yeah. See you later, Aerith. Good thing I went on a date with Tifa. Got my bases covered.
Oh my gosh, saying that though, do you think that this game, you know, because it did give us the options, it made it look that maybe we're in a little bit more control of the events of the original.
Yes.
Do you think that now it's coming to that it's showing us that maybe we're not? It's still in fate's hand? Like, oh my gosh, did the developers just whisper us? Like, did they just send the whispers on us as gamers and think that we were in control of this timeline and we're not?
I still think that this is not what it seems. It is Square Enix that we're talking about, so everything's probably going to be very convoluted. So I'm prepared for anything. However, I think if there is a scenario that Aerith dies, there is a scenario where Aerith does not die. I don't know how that all works out, but I feel confident that we'll get at least that answer, that maybe she dies somewhere else, but she doesn't die here.
Well, and maybe that'll give you a reason to replay the game to platinum it, huh, Nick?
No, thank you.
Well, with that said, Nick, anything else you want to add to this chapter?
Kate Sith, I guess I want to know what happens with him after this, because I don't think it's the last we've heard from him. I still think he is a good character. I just want to see what ends up happening with him.
I do think he's a good character, but Nick, you know, I know you're concerned because you just really want those microphones. You want him back in the party.
I need to get it to 100%. I didn't get all of his weapon skills. Damn it.
Well, maybe next episode we will be able to venture back. Maybe we'll get Kate Sith back in our party as well as we head into the second last. Are we heading into both chapters, or are we heading into This is
the second last.
Second last, right? I can't believe we're doing 13 episodes for this series, but it's so good. There's so much that we got to break down. So we are heading into the second last chapter of the game, the second last episode for us here for Rebirth as well. Nick, I'm a little sad.
I don't want to think about it. I've spent almost 200 hours in this game. I don't want to leave.
Well, there you have it. We are just 2 chapters away to the end of this game as we continue ending our journey in Rebirth. Next episode, we will venture to the Temple of the Ancients.
What? Finally.
We who are born of the planet, with her we speak, her flesh we shape. Unto her promised land shall we one day return. By her loving grace and providence may we take our place in paradise.
And things may get turned upside down, but we'll have to find out what gets turned upside down next time on AutoSave. AutoSave is produced and hosted by Nick Andrade and myself, Camille Salazar-Hadaway. The show is also produced by Dylan Wilson. Gameplay and additional elements provided by Chris Zeiser. Technical production by Greg Fillion. Executive producer Clayton Hansler. You can follow the show at AutoSave Podcast on Twitter and AutoSave Pod on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. You can subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to it right now. And if it happens to be Apple Podcasts, kindly leave us a rating and a review, but only if it's good. AutoSave is a Soda original hosted on the Soda Podcast Network.
AutoSave.